What's up, Line Golf Academy members and guests, and we have an update from the video we did yesterday. One of our users watched what we had to say about his swing, and he went ahead and tried it, and he got back to me and said it's probably the best he's hit it in a while. We're going to take a look at what is going on, and also some causes of concern when you are trying a new move, how you can overdo it. But I also stumbled across this video coming up, and we're going to look at this individual. Apparently he's having some issues with some certain clubs, so I figured I'd just drop him a quick evaluation so we can learn together on what he is doing and how we can change it so we can free up his body, make some good turns, and start hitting the golf ball better with his longer clubs. So stay with me, and if you do like this, hit that like, share, and subscribe. And if you really want to help out, we have our channel membership starting at 99 cents every 30 days, and that goes straight to the Heal the Hood Foundation in Cape Flat, South Africa, to help low-income children get into golf. But that is enough verbiage for me. Let's go check out these amateurs and learn what they are doing. On the screen is the man of the hour from yesterday. If you watched yesterday's video, he was one of the subjects, and we talked about how we can get some forward shaft lean and get the compression of the golf ball just by carrying that angle over to his left side sooner. So let's back up to the top of the swing, and this is what we're going to be trying to explain. But before we start that, let's go check the setup and see if the changes worked in his favor. So first off, let's do this, and let's check that shoulder tilt relationship, and the ball changes as well to see what is going on. So if we draw 90 degrees from that line, it is close enough there, and 90 degrees from this line, we can see the difference of how much closer the golf ball on the right side is to his right shoulder. So if you wanted to get this perfect, and this could be a camera angle issue, but if you want to get this perfect, let's just draw a line straight from the golf ball up to the sky, straight from the golf ball up to the sky. If you were to move this golf ball one more golf ball over to the left side, this will in turn bring your crossing right over your right shoulder, which is where you want it to be. Now that golf ball is connected to your right shoulder, where you can see the gapping on the left side. You have to stay back and flip to close that gap at impact. But now that we got that forward lean going on to carry over that angle, this should help you out. But try one more golf ball position, see if that really helps you out. And let's go straight to impact and see the differences here. So we can already see a clear difference of where that golf ball was versus the upper body. So much more clearance room on that right side of the screen. We can see the upper body's carrying over. So let's clear up these lines. And what we did is we gave him a feeling of carrying his angle over. So if we have either one of these can work, but there's your TP. What did we call it yesterday? The TP power of strength. So we can see that TP power of strength. The one on the left side is at the golf ball. The one on the right side is at the golf ball, which is good. Now, first move on the way down, we can see that he's carrying over his centeredness more in front of the golf ball. So if we do a new TP power of strength, we can kind of see the difference here. So there's the centeredness of his body, there's the TP power strength, versus here, centeredness of the body is still kind of stuck where that golf ball is. So this allows him now to change that angle, so his hand path is swinging more down, compressing the golf ball. And we can see this here. Look at the hand path, how the hand path is working slightly down as he strikes that golf ball, giving him some forward shaft lean, compressing the golf ball. Now this must feel very unusual for him, specifically that follow through. I mean, look how much more weighting is over that left side. Now this is a cautionary tale as well, because if you keep searching for that feel, pretty soon, let me show you what he's going to look like. Pretty soon he's going to be this far over and falling over to his left foot. So you can see, look at the weighting on that foot. It actually comes off the ground as he gets through over. So he's getting that feeling. So just be cautionary when you do this drill, to realize when that feel becomes normal. Now you're going to search for that feel, and you're going to start to overdo it. So be aware of some telltale signs when you do that. You might catch it very thin. You might start shanking or topping it. And if that's the case, just taper back a little bit. But I'm really glad to see this. This is a lot better compression. I'm glad it's working out for you. But keep an eye on this, because it can get away from you just as soon as you found it. Okay, so for today's video, we're going to look at this individual and help him out. I guess he can hit some clubs really good and some clubs not so good. So I wonder if he has his longer clubs here. Yeah, there's a longer club. Okay, so let's look at the shorter swing, and let's see what we can tell what's going on here. And I do see a little bit of lack of room, and he has to start to make up for it. So restricted turn, It looks like a young individual, fairly strong, shouldn't have much motion issues. Longer clubs, you can see a little bit of trapping going on, and the hands are trying to take over. So again, this could be a setup flaw. So let's just go straight to the longer club, because that's usually the one that we have issues with. And let's draw our lines. I'll be right back so I don't have to put you through this mundane issue. Okay, so all in all, the posture looks fairly adequate for what you're trying to accomplish here, which is to strike down the golf ball. However, I do see some spacing issues, specifically with your hands and your legs. Now, there's not a lot of room there to work with, and I can tell this because you can see your weighting is almost too heel-based. We've been seeing a lot of toe-based setups, and this one's definitely heel-based. So if we draw that centeredness of your arches up to the sky, we can see that your crisscross is behind that centeredness. So there's a little bit too much of the body behind your centeredness. Now, one issue with this is wherever your feet are centered, that's usually where your hips are going to catch up to. So we will see some hip placement changes as you drive down to the golf ball. This right hip will move towards that centeredness to make sure you don't fall over. And we can see this as you come on down into the impact position. Right there's the center of your hip, and it's moving to wherever your centeredness is, causing you to get a little crammed. But look at that, there's not much spacing here, which will then cause your hands to try and get a little bit too involved. And when you have spacing issues, we can start to hit that S word, which is the shank word, and you can almost catch the hosel, but you are learning to pull those hands closer, so you're really running tight on your room here. Now, the longer the club gets, if you don't provide the spacing for that club, you can all of a sudden run into some big issues. So let's go back at the start of your swing and start to see where things break down and start to see evidence of why this is breaking down. So when you're watching this at home, ladies and gentlemen, you can start to learn about path and plane work. So if we take that club to parallel to the sky, we can see that the arms cannot really turn back behind you with the turn because of the spacing. So you're starting to learn to lift up the arms a little bit sooner, but to compensate that, you're starting to get those hands to pull that club back. So we see the club working below the plane and the hands working above the plane. So there's some slight disconnection off the bat. Once we get to that top plane line, however, your arms are looking pretty good. Your body has been able to turn a lot. Your hands are in a decent position, a little bit lower than they need to be, but again, this is personal preference. So for me, that's pretty good. The club is in a good place here. We can see it's pretty close to that, in between those two plane lines, and from here you can pull it down naturally. But if you run out of spacing, remember the hips now are trying to fight your centeredness. So the hips are going to want to work close to the golf ball while you're turning. So you have two forces. You're trying to turn away from the ball, but your hips are trying to find the centeredness. So in essence, you're trying to turn this way, but your hips are moving this way so you don't fall over. So these two are working opposite of each other. So it's robbing you of some potential distance, plus also some good weight distribution. So we can see as you drive it, there's the turn, but then also there's the shift towards the golf ball because you're trying to find that centeredness. And now look at your right hand. It's crammed. There's not much to go with it. So you have the club below the plane like it was on the backswing, and the hands above the plane. So it requires you to get a little bit of this manipulation with the hands to release a little bit too soon to bring that club back around on top of that plane line for a split second. And now you can see the release pattern is pretty good. Arms get to that secondary plane line pretty good, but it's again very constricted. So as you release this club, this arm should release nice and away from you, but because you're so constricted, your hands are very tight to your body, you're not able to release the power naturally. But let's look at the right side of the screen, because we can start to piece together what happens with the right side of the screen. And I'm glad these are kind of separated to get the idea of what's going on. So ball position, let's check out that ball position first and see if that is adequate for what we're trying to accomplish here. So shoulders tilting and the chest is going to run right through. So we have a slight forward press in relation to where the golf ball should be. So it's okay to have a slight forward press as long as you have the room to work and tilt under, but because you don't have the room to work and tilt under, your hands get too involved at the very end, so you can be either really good or misses. It's very hard to be consistent from here. So once you get your feet further back this way, I want you to then change your ball position to move slightly ahead of you based on this setup. Now we can change that the more you start hitting the golf balls, but for you, you want more spacing to allow you to turn and get used to this, and let your arms just kind of go along with that turn. But let's take a look at the top of the swing here. As you get to the top, do you take it back? Good one-piece takeaway. It's pretty good. You're nice and wide here, and right there is pretty good. I'd say, hands are definitely out in front. If we go check the shoulders, they're still out in front of your shoulders, so they're not sucking back. So this is really good. You have a good motion. As you come on down through, you can see you're carrying over this angle, which is a hard thing to do. So whatever angle this is, you're trying to carry that over as you strike that golf ball. So you definitely have some compressions, which is great. Once you get down to impact, you can see your hands are kind of just throwing a little bit. Now, this is where we have to start to learn about ball position. So hand position is relatively good. You can see the hands are still out in front of the chest, slightly off the right shoulder. You would like them to be a little bit further out in front, but because of that ball position related to your setup, premature shaft lean is you have to throw it a little bit too soon. So if you had that golf ball position up one golf ball, you can hold on to that angle a little bit longer and be probably more connected to the center of your chest, which will help you deliver power to the golf ball more efficiently and get some consistent distance with your clubs. And then as you come on through, you can see those hands are really engaged. The left arm is pulling back and close to you because there's not enough room to have a full release. And you come on through and you can just see that the hands are not extending outward and moving away from you as a result of you rotating. Overall, I think you have a really good golf swing to work with. It just needs a little bit of freedom. So stand a little bit further back, help you get that rotation. Hope this helps you guys and girls watching this to identify that everybody's so unique and this person has a beautiful golf swing, but should not focus on changing the swing as much, but where you start. Starting is a huge foundation that we overlook a lot of the times, but that's what the best players in the world do. So why don't you do it too? Hope that helps you. I'll see you next time. Fairways and greens.